What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more punk rock. And we're returning to the 1995 compilation Punk Sucks on Liberation Records. I've talked about this going back a couple years, I think, and I reacted to... what track was it? Oh, I think it was the Smog Ute K tune. But yes, it's a compilation I got pretty early on in my punk journey. I had already discovered Propagandhi through their How to Clean Everything debut album. I think maybe I was already familiar with Subhumans and Bad Religion, but it was very early in my punk journey. And through a compilation like this, I became familiar with a number of other bands. And it's an interesting compilation in that regard, because there's a number of bands like Bouncing Souls and I think Angry Samoans, were they on there? But Homegrown, all sorts of bands within the punk and or ska punk world that would have long careers and maybe are still operating today, but there were some bands on the compilation that had very short durations or lifespans, one of which is Overlap. And we're going to listen to their song number 9, which it sounds like a working title. It sounds like they didn't actually get around to giving it a proper title, maybe because they had such a short duration. But not only do I think it has a very good sound, it's sort of in the pop-punk realm, both because of the lyrics are about a relationship that has clearly fallen apart, and the narrator's saying, you know, I'm not going to let whatever happen, and however you're speaking of me or thinking of me, I'm not going to let it damage my pride, and I'm going to continue on. So there's a, you know, sort of a self-empowerment and also perhaps a castigation of the person and what they've done to the narrator. So in many respects, that's the kind of lyrical subject matter that you get in pop punk, even if it has a bit, you know, like a thrashier pop punk sound, kind of like the very early Blink-182 material, which lyrically is definitely pop punk, but which has a faster and more like circle pit kind of sound. But also in the sense that the sonic terrain has a very early to mid 90s sort of sound. So like a lot of the pop punk that is famous for, you know, having that characteristic pop punk sound comes a little bit later. Nevertheless, I'm sympathetic to this tune and this band also because after I got this compilation, I was really trying to explore more punk rock, and I remember in the liner notes for the album, they had like mailing addresses for some of the bands, including Overlap, and so I remember sending them a letter saying, hey, like, I don't really know anything about you guys, wondering if you have any EPs or albums, but I heard your song number 9 on Punk Sucks, I think it's really great. And within a few weeks, they mailed me back, and I forget which member of the band it was. You know, I don't have the letter anymore, but they were very enthusiastic, saying, "Oh, that's awesome! You know, we're really happy to be on that compilation. It's really cool that you know, enjoyed that tune." And I think they did send me a short list of like 1 or 2 EPs they had done and where I could maybe find them. So I was very excited to see that at the time. It was one of the first examples of interacting with a group whose music I had discovered. So I will always have a nostalgic soft spot for Overlap and their song number 9. So let's give it a listen. This is from the Punk Sucks compilation 1995, which again is on Liberation Records. It's a tune called Song Number 9 by Overlap.
Because your friends say that I'm not cool, that we never hear your name, I start wondering about what I did and what happened to you. I don't know how you continue to believe all your crap. I don't know why you and your friends keep coming back and try to destroy all the things that leave inside. Well, you realize that they walk away, but you can't destroy my pride. No. feel that way too? Do you ever feel that way too? Do you ever feel that way
I love that. So again, it's a very relationship-based song. I forgot some of the lines there. That part at the end when it sort of shifts into the alternate interlude, which is different from most of what's come before melodically. The line like, we used to have so much fun, and why did you have to change? You were my best friend, and do you ever feel that way too? So a lot of it is combative, that like, oh, you and your friends, I guess I wasn't cool enough for you, and so you had to, put me down because somehow I wasn't, the ideal boyfriend that you wanted. But then as it goes on, you can tell, even if he's combative and trying to insist on his own self-worth, and he's not going to let the other person drag them down anymore, he's longing for or recalling a time when they were the best of friends, not just, a relationship, but it was like, we had so much fun, and, do you ever feel that too? Behind this facade that you're now, too cool for me or whatever, like, do you remember the way we felt? Like, do you ever feel that way too? So it's a song with emotional confliction, but I like the way that it's both defiant and reflective at the same time. So again, just because pop punk and some punk songs or even bands and their larger catalogs don't deal with like muckraking politics or socio-cultural critiques, that doesn't mean that there's not profundity or emotional significance in their lyrics. And I think this is a good example. It might be written by, I don't know how old they were, they sound very young, but yeah, just because you're a teen or in your early 20s doesn't mean that you can't write profound lyrics, even if they're very narrowly focused. So yeah, and I also, again, love the thrashier end of the pop punk spectrum that we get with the Sonics. Something about the recording quality of the drums, they have a really nice sound. Not that they're overly elaborate drum schemes or anything, but they just have a really good sound to them. So yeah, I wish this band lasted longer. I give them a shout out that one of the members at least sent me a letter back, way back when I was a young, impressionable teen, so that meant a lot. And it's like, oh wait, so, unlike some of these mega superstar pop acts, and again, nothing wrong with that. People will know I react to all sorts of pop megastars on this channel, going back to the 80s or, beyond or even before that. But at the same time, the punk world felt more immediately accessible and responsive because of experiences like this, where, a band wrote back to me within like a week or so and said, hey, thanks for enjoying our song, and here's the couple releases that we have. So they may not have been around that long, but shout out to Overlap, and shout out to Punk Sucks and Liberation Records. Again, it was cool in my early phase of punk rock exploration to find a compilation like this, which exposed me to many other punk bands beyond the handful that I had already become a fan of. So in any case, let me know what you think of this. I will see you next time. Peace.